Alrighty, another episode of Chatting with a Natty. Worldwide, prestige, worldwide. Step Brothers, for those who don't know. That's a Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly film. Honestly, my favorite comedy. I'm not really much of a funny guy, but I definitely have a sense of humor, which is weird because I'm very quick to laugh. I just don't really know how to tell jokes. Some might say that I'm a very serious person. Others will say the same thing. I don't know how to tell jokes. Even though I'm quick to laugh. I don't really know the relativity of that whole thing. Anyway, we are killing time until my guest shows up. So we'll just go into a little bit about how my day has been. Finished a book that I'm working on, which is going to be launching in conjunction with our app, Exceed. Aiming to do a launch, probably a soft launch in 2 weeks and a full launch 4 weeks from now. So we've already been kind of promoting it on our Instagram stories to opt in and get notifications when the app is live. I'm setting it up so that the ebook that I just finished, once you opt in through the page, then you get the ebook Exceed, the manifesto, sent directly to your email. And the manifesto basically goes over what the app really is, which it's like on the forefront, it's a fitness app for working out, training, calories, nutrition, macros, and things of that nature. But what I really want to focus on when it comes to the development and the promotion of the app is the community of people that are supporting one another inside that app. But I want to do it in a way that's a lot more interactive and immersive than regular communities, which is obviously, that's something I actually need to dive deeper into, since community life is something that's a bit foreign to me. I've never really, what up, bro? Just been killing time, yapping. I'm getting better at those little 5-minute icebreakers of just talking to myself in the camera. I feel like this was the best one I've done. Granted, the more you have going on. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's up, Shaun?
How
How
are
you
you?
doing, buddy?
I'm
I'm
good.
doing great.
Good to hear from you. You're over in Thailand, right?
Yeah, I've been in Thailand for like a year and a half now.
How's that
Goes
going?
so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing but good things to say about Thailand.
Yeah?
It's amazing. Um, I'd say number one is the people here. It's just so kind and respectful, and it's very inexpensive to live. So, my buddy Dirk Emmerich, I don't know if you know who that is. Yeah, you know who it is, right? You're on
Yes.
top of the natural bodybuilding game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he lived here for like 3 years, and I kind of reached out to him. I was kind of curious, and he loved it here. So I'm like, let me give it a shot because like New York was getting so expensive, and I kind of wanted to change. So I came here, and 1 month led to the next, and I just ended up staying. So the next time I'll be back in the States is for Worlds, WMBF Worlds, which is November 23rd. But until then, I should be chilling out here.
And
It's very nice.
that's in California, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, so it's supposed to be in Los Angeles.
Right.
The venue hasn't been picked yet. So I'm wondering with everything that's going on,
Right.
not sure if it's really going to be in LA or not. We'll see. But right now it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, yeah. Because I'm sure you're familiar with Natty News Daily, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Leroy, I was talking to Leroy about November, and he has intentions. I should hit him up too because he plans on at least covering WNBF Worlds, and I'm actually located in Los Angeles, so it would be
There you
good
go.
to. Yeah, I definitely got to go to that show. And Valley
Yeah.
Muscle, he just joined. Valley, we got to go to WNBF Worlds if it's still happening in LA in November. Because I mean,
Absolutely.
why would we miss that?
That's the pinnacle right there.
Yeah.
How is LA like near you? Like, is it as crazy as everyone's making it seem on the news, or how is it over there?
It's well, like I'm not one to truly be able to comment on it fully, just because I've always been a person who keeps my head down and focuses on what's in front of me and like how, the changes that I can make.
Mm,
So I haven't been affected. My son is kind of in the heart of it. He lives in downtown LA with his mother.
mm, mm.
So like there's a little bit of stress because like I would hate to like get a phone call of like my son's mother crying and go like, oh my god, yada yada yada, and that would be terrible. But
Mhm.
that has not happened yet. Fingers crossed that it doesn't. And
Good.
I just try to focus on what I can control.
Right. It's
Yeah.
a good way to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's hop into it, bro.
Let's go.
All right. Well, firstly, it's funny. Daniel Coffin, shout out Daniel. He was the one who actually put you on my radar, and he sent me your Instagram profile. Apparently, you. Where did you guys link up?
So I just had a posing session with him like last week
Okay.
for the first time, and at the end he was like, you know what? Let me link you up with this guy named Shaun. He's a really good guy, and he told me a little bit about like the TV show, the possibility of a TV show, and he said there was natty influencers versus competitive
Yeah.
natural bodybuilders.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's correct. So I thought that was really cool. I'm like, yeah, give me my info, and I'd love to talk about it because
That's awesome.
anything natural bodybuilding,
Love it.
count me in. Like
Love
this
it.
is what
Love
I
it.
do. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's super cool. And Daniel, like, yeah, he's definitely associated with the project. The ideal scenario, we have one of the greatest posers of all time on our bodybuilding team. So we're coached by Team DMF. And Melvin Marvelous Anthony, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He's an OG in the sport, competing with the likes of Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler and all them. Um,
sure.
yeah, yeah. So, but it's him, Kai Green, and Ed Corney as considered like top of the food chain so far as posing is concerned. So I want to get
Mm,
involved with that aspect of posing, specifically the grace and the style and the movement, the fluidity, because that's really his specialty. And then when it comes to mandatories, I feel like Daniel Coffin is incredibly technical. And he has a lot of like very specifics as to how to create a very good mandatory pose. So I would kind of want him to handle that for our athletes in the event that the athletes really need additional help.
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, as soon as I saw his content, I'm a physique coach and a posing coach as well, but I'm always trying to learn from everybody. And I saw his content and I thought he has a very unique way of explaining things for posing. I'm like, let me get on a session with him, see if I can learn something. In the first session, I learned like two or three things that I was like, wow, like this is going to make me better
Hmm.
for this year. Um, then I booked three more sessions with him. I have another session in a couple days. So seems like a really down to earth guy, and we got along really well. So I'm looking forward to posing with him in the
Yeah,
future.
yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel's great, and he's got a really cool and creative brain. That he really applies to his business. So it's really
Mm,
fun because uh, what something I really appreciate about Daniel is that his formula for marketing and promotion is always changing, but like he keeps it rooted in like a very specific foundation, but it expands beyond that, which I find like inspirational for my own purposes. So
mm.
he's a cool guy. Yeah,
Yeah, his content's definitely
yeah,
interesting. That's for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Um,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
it's interesting because when he sent me your Instagram profile, immediately I was a huge fan of your physique. Like that's elite level.
Oh man,
Like I can tell that you've like you're yeah. That being said, I
thank you.
actually don't I'm not too familiar with your track record. And between Daniel sending me your Instagram and today, I realized that because I've been trying to place you and I've been trying to figure out where I've seen you. I've seen you either on Longevity's podcast or Natty News Daily. I think it was Longevity Muscle. Like,
I was on both. So yeah,
okay,
that's
yeah,
true.
yeah. So it's
Mm,
possible that I saw you on both. But that being said, like while I did watch it, and I watched that like a year ago or something like that, and that's why it took so long for me to place it. I'm like, I know this guy, I know this guy's face. But I would love to hear your history, your bodybuilding history. Like, how long have you been doing it? What are the competitions that you have done? What has the experience of bodybuilding been like for you?
Yeah, so I mean, I could take it back. My first competition was at the INBF Hercules. I was like 18, going on 19. That's in New York. If those of you who don't know, it's one of like the staple competitions in the WNBF. It's like legendary, the Hercules. So that was my first comp as a teenager. I took second to a really impressive guy. I remember his name, Jermaine Morgan. He was like a year younger than me, but he was super developed. So I took second to him. And fun fact, the overall winner was Shaun Clarita when
Hmm.
he was still natural and competing in the WNBF. So he was the overall winner there. I'll never forget, like he told like my dad or something. We were training in a gym after the competition, and he's like, "Man, I wish I had your son's calves." I was like, "Yeah, calves are like the one of the biggest muscle groups for me, but a lot of genetics. Let's be honest, calves are usually genetic." So
How
I
often
thought that
do you
was
train
fun. Very
calves?
down to earth guy.
How
What's
often do you
that?
train calves?
I train everything as hard as I possibly can. So I'll train it anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week, anywhere from like 10 to 15 sets a week. And I'm maintaining. If I want to grow my calves, I'll probably up it to 20 a week. So I just did them today. You know, I knocked out 5 sets. So it's genetics, but also I do put in work.
Got,
So
got it. Got it.
thank you for
Yeah, yeah,
that. You're like,
yeah.
it's not all
Of
genetics.
course,
Yeah, you do have
of
to put in the
course.
work too.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I took like a hiatus from bodybuilding. I wanted to try different things to see if I really wanted to make bodybuilding my career. I wrestled in high school, then I tried Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a while at Matt Serra's gym in Huntington, New York. I did a little bit of Western boxing, tried some fitness modeling, some commercial acting, and nothing really like got me like natural bodybuilding. So I decided at 26 that I was going to make like a super effort into being the best natural bodybuilder I can be. And I took up coaching with Jason Tremblay. His company is called the Strength Guys, and it's funny because it's a powerlifting coaching business, and I'm his only bodybuilder. But he's so smart that he could coach honestly like any sport. Like he's just one of those coaches that could just do anything.
Hmm.
So from there, we took like 6 years to prepare for my uh, pro qualifier, which was the INBF Northeast America. That's Anthony Minetti's show. And I turned pro there at about 32 years old. And then I rolled right into my first pro competition called the WNBF Pro American. That's in Massachusetts. I took two, second of 12 very good pros. Um, and then I took like, I want to say like a 3 or 4 year off season, 4 years. I competed in 2022. I won the WNBF Monster Mash. That's a pro competition with the WNBF. And then I took second at the World Championships, the WNBF World Championships. So that takes me to now 2025. I'm preparing for Worlds again this year. And I'd like to do WNBF Dubai in September and possibly WNBF Taiwan. So that's like I just spanned everything for you. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's my most urgent goal
Love
is
it.
those three shows.
Who did you get second against in WNBF Worlds?
So he was a multiple time world champion. His name is Bada Lakan from Nigeria.
Bada.
Yeah.
He's local.
Yes, that's right. He lives in Cali, correct?
Yeah, he was the first natural bodybuilder I ever met in person. Yeah.
Oh, well, you met a real good one then right
Yeah, no,
away.
it was crazy because I was just training at LA Fitness and I was just starting to like take bodybuilding seriously and I was like thinking like, man, I shouldn't have skipped leg day for 10 years. You know what I mean? And I was watching
Hell yeah.
Bada do like he was doing like the V squat, you know the V squat, right? At LA
Sure,
Fitness.
sure, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I walk up to him, I'm like, hey man, like you've got great legs. Like, how long did it take you to get your legs like that? And he's like, 7 years. I'm like, okay, noted, noted, 7 years,
Yeah.
7 years. And that was 2 years ago. So but
Amazing.
yeah,
He might have, I mean, he's got to be up there with the best quads in the game.
yeah.
Like his quads are like And I think that's the reason I lost because his quads are so good that I like to think my quads are pretty good, but his are just on another level. So for that reason, I took like 3 years. I'm like, I have to devote like my whole training to increasing my quad size, which I think we did a really good job. So I'm interested, I'm looking forward to displaying that this year at Walls for sure.
Love
But yeah, phenomenal athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
phenomenal.
right. Okay. So let's talk a bit about longevity because I can see that you're like a long-term planner. And based off of the timeline that you gave me, I don't hear a specific like urgency. It was like if you just competed, you don't feel the need to compete that year or the year after. You'll take as long as you feel that you need to. Who's making those plans? Is it just you? Is it a team? How are these decisions being made?
It's a good question. So I will say Jason Tremblay does my training, as mentioned. Cliff Wilson does my nutrition. So I have to shout everybody out.
Shout out Cliff.
Um,
I just discovered him honestly 72 hours ago.
oh,
But I
amazing.
keep hearing his name now. Like it's like a Bader Meinhof phenomenon. Like once you hear about a thing, then you see that thing everywhere. I've been seeing Cliff everywhere this week.
Okay. Yeah, he's not only a phenomenal coach, but an amazing human. So if you can get him on, I highly recommend.
He's well,
Uh,
I can't ignore him now because like I'm seeing him everywhere.
nah,
Yeah.
one of the best coaches in the world for sure. So I think that it's partly my coach's decision and mine, but I think it's more mine.
Okay.
Um, I just like taking longer off seasons because I feel that muscle mass is number one. And if I'm competing too often, I'm not going to grow as much as I need to give me the best chances to win, you know? So it's both of us. I tend to take longer off seasons, but then like someone like Dirk, who's a buddy of mine, who I mentioned as well, he'll compete back to back, but he'll grow. Like it's very clear he gained a lot of muscle in like that 6 months of growing, which is phenomenal. But I just don't think I have it like that. Like I need a
Yeah.
long time
Yeah.
to grow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the main reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the next question that comes to mind is, do you only compete when it's like you've got it fully in your heart, mind, soul, spirit that like, oh, I'm winning this motherfucking thing. Otherwise, I'm not going to compete.
Yeah. That's interesting. I would say, yeah, it is. I want to just make sure like I'm making leaps and bounds of progress before I
Mm-hmm.
compete again.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not, then it doesn't interest me
Mm-hmm.
much. Like, what am I doing? I gained like a pound of muscle. Like, I want to gain pounds of muscle in the off season to make a huge effect on stage. So I think that's more my mentality. That I just don't want to get on stage the next year and be like, I don't even think I grew. Like maybe a little. I don't want that. You know,
Yeah, I
I
relate
want
to
big
that.
progress.
Yeah, I relate to that. I did my first two shows last year, and then I came up with like because the only reason I got into this whole thing, I discovered bodybuilding 2 years ago. Natural bodybuilding, I discovered 2 years ago. I knew about the enhanced side of the sport.
It's all good.
So anyway, like I knew about the enhanced side of the sport, obviously during high school and stuff like that, but discovering natural bodybuilding and understanding that it was marginalized. The fact that there are fantastic natural athletes like yourself, like Bada, like Babacar, Oscar Moscow, Alberto Nunez, like the list
Mhm.
goes on. And the fact that these athletes weren't being promoted while I was in high school. Had I known about you guys, had I known about this like natural bodybuilding circuit, I would have had an opportunity to actually immerse myself in a sport that actually aligned with my passion for aesthetics, you know? But instead, I felt like I was robbed of it. And fast forward to age 33, and I'm just now discovering it. I'm like, well, I want to kind of be of service to my younger self. And if there are kids who are 16 who are looking for a sport and looking to like resonate with something, but they don't want to take steroids, that's who I'm doing it for, you know? And I say all that to say, I'm like you, where I did my first two shows last year, and now I like in my mind it's like, dude, I could not compete for another 5 years, but during those 5 years, let's put on some like sick ass size. Like I already have good size, but now that I know that I'm a bodybuilder, and now that I know that this sport is one of longevity, and you can be in it for myself and my training partner Valley Muscle, we met with, do you know Marshall Jones by chance?
Marshall Marshall Jones. No, I don't. Who is that?
He typically competes in OCB, but he's a 64-year-old bodybuilder, and he just got second
Oh,
at OCB's biggest tournament called the Yorton Cup. But
okay.
yeah, but
Yeah.
he's competing at the highest level in the OCB Federation at 64 years old,
So
and
so that's Marshall Johnson. You're right.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yes, I do
yeah,
know him. Yes,
yeah.
amazing. I can't. Isn't that crazy? 60 something years old. He looks insane, huh?
I know. It's crazy, and just the opportunity that we had to chat with him. I might be meeting up with him in person next month because I'll be in the area.
Cool.
But being able to hear his perspective on, yes, he's got a great physique, just like you've got a great physique, just like I've got a great physique. But the insight that he offered when it comes to his competition over the course of 30 years, he didn't give any credit to his physique. He gave all of his credit to his mindset and the fact that every time he prepared for a show, he's thinking, am I doing everything that's required in order to win? And then on the day of, he's looking around the people at backstage and he's thinking, I got these guys beat. Fuck the physique.
Hmm.
Fuck the physique. It's just like what he's telling himself, which I thought was incredibly insightful, you know?
Very interesting. And it's you gotta wonder how many injuries he might have gone through. I'm sure he's gone through many. And to have that physique at you said 64, right?
Yeah.
I mean, talk about mental strength and mental fortitude. That's
Mm-hmm.
I hope to be doing it at his age and as good as he's doing it at his age. That's
Yeah.
remarkable.
It really does
Yeah.
give you the perspective that like we can do it. We can do this sport, especially as natural athletes, for an incredibly long time. You know,
Hmm.
even on the enhanced side of the sport, you've got like models like Dexter Jackson, who was competing well into his, I want to say, late 50s, if not early 60s. But it's more fewer and far between when like it's on the enhanced side of the sport. Whereas with like natural bodybuilders, the concept, which is something that Marshall suggested yesterday, is that like every day we're bigger, every day we're better, and every day we're growing. And to think that you still have that mindset in your 60s is incredibly exciting. You know?
It is, and that's a great point. Even for the younger generation to hear. I'm 38, so I'm like 5 years older than you. But we're very young for this sport. Like I know a lot of sports you're done at like late 20s, early 30s. But for this sport, clearly Marshall Johnson, 64, like world class physique.
Yeah,
So if kids could see that and just be a little more patient if they didn't want to go the PED route, we could save a lot of kids from messing up their bodies, I
yeah,
believe,
yeah.
um, and have them in a sport that hopefully they love and they could do their whole life, which
Right.
is remarkable too, you know?
That's 100% the vision and the intention. And the trick is, or the trick that I'm figuring out is how do you reward a person's patience? If currently society is kind of conditioning or programming our mentality to seek quick validation, convenience, shortcuts, take steroids, get a nice physique, get a following, get clout, get status, get socially accepted because you look cool, but you didn't
Hmm.
really do anything on the inside to actually go through the process of achieving a peak version of yourself. If society is kind of making us believe like that's the thing to focus on, then how do we combat that through the promotion of longevity, discipline, perseverance, patience, growing into that version of yourself over the course of a decade? How do we make that sexy? You know?
How do we make that? Yeah, because that's important. I mean, we're basically building young kids from a character
Correct.
perspective and kind of removing the instant gratification and maybe the monetary rewards, these eternal rewards that aren't probably going to make you too happy. But if you're good in here and you work really hard, and yeah, I think that to make that sexy, I think is probably difficult. I'd have to ask you, like, do you have any ideas on
Oh
how to
yeah. Yeah.
really make that appealing to the younger generation, you know?
Well, my solution is, and you kind of already said it earlier, but it's character work. So I like basically the goal is to share my passion for my heroes, which are natural bodybuilders like yourself, and to display how I see you guys from my perspective and bring that in the form of movies and television shows and documentaries and graphic novels and animes and video games. So
And
yeah, so basically it's like taking the way that I see you guys and showing the world what you guys look like to me. And the way that you guys look like to me are fucking rock star superhero type characters. Cause like you guys aren't in a rush. You guys are like basically aligned with your spirit and your mind and your body and want to see this version of yourself every day and continue pushing over the course of decades, like that's incredibly cool to me. And people are sleeping on such a mindset to have in order to achieve the peak version of yourself. Instead, it's like where like society is just tricking us into focusing on clout and like monetary success and like material shit that has no value beyond just like the moment.
Mm,
Yeah.
wow. So no, I never heard anyone put it that way with the anime, the TV shows, movies. I tell you, I always felt that we just need a really good marketer for the sport. I can't speak to other organizations, but truly natural bodybuilding, where there's off-season drug testing, you have a polygraph, you have your analysis, and hopefully we're going to get blood testing, at least for the champions in the future. Truly natural bodybuilding needs a marketer and a business mind behind it. Like
Yeah.
I've always said that. I'm like, once we get that, it's over. Like, and I think what you just said is amazing. And if you could really get that going, I can't even imagine where the sport will go to.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
you may have already heard it, but I'll just say it for the sakes of conversation. I'm building this blueprint very closely off of the success of the WWE universe, where they built a product, and the flagship products are SmackDown TV show and Raw TV show, and they promote their WWE superstars as just that larger than life personas, where we build storylines, rivalries, backgrounds, origin stories around these characters, names and likeness being used to represent the story, and that's how we actually promote the show. So when I think of like how Vince McMahon went about doing it, I'm doing the same thing. It's just getting rid of the negative aspects of his personality, but like
Okay.
still taking like the sole strategy of what he did, which is basically selling stories over anything else, you know.
Yeah,
And then like the physique is the product, but the story is the sell, if that makes sense.
for sure. I think
Yeah.
that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, people want to get behind athletes. Like they want to know where they came from, what they went through, what
Yeah.
they're going through, what they want to achieve, this and that.
Yeah.
I suppose day-to-day life they'd like to see as well. But yeah, it's never really that final product, is it? It's really just what's behind it. That's
Hmm.
what's gonna really catch people's eye. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, because in the 2 years that I've been working on this, when I speak to a person who has a limiting belief as to the success of what it is that we're working on, they say, "Oh, well, natural bodybuilding can never be as big as enhanced bodybuilding." And this is actually a great opportunity to propose a concept for you that I haven't been able to talk to anyone about it. So this you'll be the first person to hear it.
Oh,
But all
great.
right, so yeah, I mentioned anime, right?
Hmm.
And the type of storyteller that I am, I get to play with past, present, and future. And if we're playing with the future, I would like to put the anime, let's say, 20 years in the future, and really exaggerate the dystopian society that it looks like we're kind of heading in, where there's higher advancements in artificial intelligence, technology, scientific augmentations. So I kind of have this idea where, let's say, it's 2050, right? And the anime is taking place, and we have the Natty King, and it's a successful project. We've had 4 or 5 different Natty Kings at this point, and the movement has spread, right? The thing is that in this show, the Natty King is being compared against the enhanced counterpart, and at this point in the game, enhanced bodybuilding, it's not just steroids. It's like science has gotten so advanced where they're implanting additional limbs in people, and there are bodybuilders who are like competing with 4 arms to be like the next Mr. Olympia. And I want to use
Wow.
that as like a contrast to show like there's natural evolution, which is the Natty King, where like they continue to grow mentally, spiritually, and physically in natural ways and show a representation of peak physical potential. Or you have like the unnatural way, which goes in the direction of literally you're getting multiple limbs implanted in your body just because science can. Just because science has the
Hmm.
ability to do this Now we're doing it. And it's not for me to say like one is evil, but I am looking to show the juxtaposition, the contrast between the two, and maybe provide an example of like, is this the future that we want to head into? Even though it might be inevitable,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, so as you explain that, what I think about is genetic engineering.
Correct.
Um, I don't know when that's going to come about, but what if there's a point where we're just genetically manipulating, kids' genes to be super athletes? Like, where does that end,
And
right? Like,
how do we feel about it? How do you feel about it?
you know what I like to use it for? To remove any possible future ailments a kid might have, like genetically engineering them to be healthier. But for sports, man, that's a slippery slope, isn't it? You know?
Well, yeah,
Um,
I mean,
hmm.
I think the question I would ask you is like, why have you chosen to stay natural?
So the first thing that comes to mind is I used to train at Bev Francis Powerhouse Gym. It's the East Coast Mecca. It's located in New York. Um, when I trained there, I used to look at the people on the walls. Like they used to have all the Mr. Olympias and things like that back in the day. I was like, and I saw Ronnie Coleman there. I saw Jay Cutler, The Rock. Like I've seen a lot of big dudes. I'm like, it just didn't seem like feasible for my life to want to do that,
Hmm.
get that big and compete at the Olympia. So I just stayed natural. And then as a teen, I was like, oh, there's actually a natural bodybuilding competition. I'm like, this is just right up my alley. That and also I'm kind of a masochist in a way where I want to suffer for my reward. I don't want things easy.
Mm.
Like I don't know what it is about me. I just don't like it. So I like to delay gratification and work really hard at something, and it makes me feel good. So I think those two things kind of just kept me natural, if you
Hmm.
will.
Yeah.
Um, and as a teenager, there wasn't really like social media like we have now. So now that I'm seeing natural bodybuilding, explode before my eyes the past 5 years in particular, it just makes me want to stay in this lane even more.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, love that. And then going back to the forearm bodybuilder and the natural peak version of bodybuilding,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on? Let's say that is a reality out in the future. How do we feel about that reality?
If we're just like augmenting our human, like the human body like that in
Yeah,
reality,
yeah.
uh, there just needs to be an organization that allows that. Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
then,
think it's the IFBB.
so there we go. So as long as like we stay in the WMBF as natural as humanly possible, right now it's 10 years drug free. Who knows? It might be lifetime eventually.
Mhm.
But as long as we're good in our lane and no one is trying to cheat coming into the WMBF, I'm fine with what the IFBB. I don't have anything against the IFBB or enhanced bodybuilders. But I think giving people an option is the most important. Like, do you want to go that way? You're allowed. You're an adult. Or you could come the natural route. The choice is yours, and all we can do is present natural
Yeah.
bodybuilding in the best way possible, and you know, attract people in that way. I think that's fine.
Yeah, and I think I'm on the same page with you so far as like leveling the playing field because like right now their natural bodybuilding, it goes back to what we were saying earlier, is like natural bodybuilding is less sexy than enhanced because
Yeah.
enhanced there's the Mr. Olympia, there's the representation of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Chris Bumstead and Ronnie Coleman, and you got these big names and this there's glory attached with being an enhanced bodybuilder and competing in the IFBB. Everyone wants to get their pro card, you know? Whereas with natural bodybuilding, since there hasn't been a good marketer, like you said, they haven't been able to promote the stars within the sport to the level of an Arnold Schwarzenegger. There is no pumping iron for natural bodybuilding. And as a result, new athletes who want glory and love bodybuilding, now they're taking steroids, you know? So
Yes.
it's really just having a equivalency to the enhanced side. My only big concern, being the future forward-thinking individual that I am, is that um, scientific progression has always been normalized. Whenever a new invention comes on the market, whether it be the iPhone or like replacing your eyes with LASIK surgery or something of that nature, it gets normalized so goddamn quickly that as I see that things start developing more quickly with AI and things of that nature, my concern is that humanity is going to go in the direction of genetic engineering in a way where it's just so accepted. And I'm worried about us not recognizing ourselves anymore, like not
Mm,
recognizing our own natural potential. Instead, it's like, oh, what modifications did you get, or what genetic restructuring did you have on your child before it came out of your womb? And like
mm,
that would be the norm, as opposed to, dude, we were already good, we were already perfect, we were already had like all the shit that we needed in order to succeed and peak ourselves. Just look at Gary, like he he goes in and day out to improve on a yearly basis, and then when he steps on stage, he comes with like this beautiful package that spent years and years and years to make. you know
hmm.
I just don't want
Right.
to forget about that.
Yeah, I mean, it could go either way. Everyone's forgetting it, or we're just going to stand out so much from everybody that's taking advantage of the science advancement that maybe we're just going to be a very special population,
So
you know?
that's exactly what the anime is. That's how it's being written.
Oh,
And
yeah?
yeah, and so you understand, it's like the way that I make content, like the anime is going to be a fucking masterpiece. But the thing is, like, I'm telling the story as if it's already, like, as if we're already living in the anime. So like the way that I scale it is, if I want to put this 20 years in the future, then I have to tell the story of how it leads to that moment in time when there is genetic engineering, when you have four-armed bodybuilders and you have people on the natural side promoting the sport and understanding like this is the last line of defense for natural human potential. Like we're it.
Mm.
If we fail, if we fall, if we give up, then it's left to the races. Now we've got fucking modded humans walking around like cyborgs, not knowing that like we came from a simpler time.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever played Mortal Kombat. Wasn't there a forearm? Who's that guy? Goro?
Yeah, Goro.
Been a bunch of Goros running around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like, I asked the person, it's like, well, I asked a casual fan of bodybuilder, like, how would you feel? Would you rather look at a four-armed enhanced bodybuilder or a natural bodybuilder? And he picked four-armed bodybuilder. And I asked him why. And he's like, oh, because no one's ever seen it. No one's ever seen it. Oh, I've never seen a four-armed bodybuilder. So like, that's why I would look at it. And it's like, okay, that's what we're up against. The freak
Right.
show,
Because
the novelty of
yeah,
something, the novelty.
I think you're 100% right. And I think that's what you get with the IFBB and enhanced bodybuilders. It's just that freak factor. Like, I don't know how many people are going to want to see a natural bodybuilder on stage unless they're at the peak, like medaling at worlds, like the top. Then they'd be like, wow, what the heck? They look amazing.
Yeah.
But the freak factor from the enhanced guys is just, it's a freak thing. They're just tremendous. They're shredded. They look like, Marvel superheroes. So I understand why there's the draw
Hmm.
there. But I really like, man, I tell you, the anime thing, I haven't heard that. That's
Oh yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
That's
that's
phenomenal.
going to be like my magnum opus, but we have to tell the story that leads up to the anime, because the anime is supposed to be like, the aesthetic is supposed to be dystopian, and I
Mm,
don't want to like, it's got to scale to that, and it's kind of tricky because with the way that things are, specifically in America, with the way that Donald Trump is running the government and stuff like that, it all tracks, but it's got to happen in a very gradual progression of like the way things are naturally happen, because again, the type of storyteller that I am, I like to base everything in reality and show that like the reality that we're currently living in is fictional. Like this shit is crazy. The type of shit, like the society that we're living in right now is incredible, and it does feel fictional, and I want to be able to display that without having to add more layers of fictional realism to it.
right.
Yeah.
One thing also you remind me of, I always felt like if we had, like the craziest drug testing where there's 0% possibility or as close to zero as you can get
Hmm.
to catch people doing drugs, that would only make our sport better because then everyone who doesn't compete with this specific drug testing, where it's basically like, yeah, we're gonna know if you use or not. They're gonna be like, ah, are you really natural? Like, if you really want to be taken seriously as a natural bodybuilder, compete in the WMBF, OCB, IP. I think just join with WMBF, but PNBA. Like, these are like the biggest natural orgs. You could be taken more serious. So again, if science advances, I'm sure we're going to get like an even better drug test
Hmm.
to make sure everyone's natural. So I think that's going to take us to another level too.
Okay, so let me get your perspective on this. I haven't asked this one in a while. Why would a person lie or cheat and say that they're a natural bodybuilder but not be? Like, what's the value of lying and cheating when it comes to natural bodybuilding?
Yeah, I was thinking about that quite a bit recently. So the prize money itself, what you win from the
Is
competition, is
not
is
substantial.
I mean, it's probably under to be the best in the world. I'm speculating, but I have a good idea, maybe under 10K.
Yeah,
Like not only the best in
that's
a weight class,
yeah.
like best out of every human
I
who's
know,
competing in natural
I
bodybuilding.
know.
So it can't be the money in that aspect, but it can be a money grab for people who compete in natural bodybuilding, who are using, they pass the drug test, however they do it, and then they go on social media and saying, "Oh, I'm the best in the world," even though they might be cheating, and then make money online.
Mm.
So that's what I think. Also, you just get, like, very immoral people out there that just don't care. They just have no respect for the sport. They want a title, they want a pro card, and they'll do anything it takes to get it. So I think it depends on the character of the individual as well. So I think those, points, that's what I think, at least. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely want to dive deeper into the psychology of a liar and a cheater because
Mm.
it's foreign to me. But I don't know. It's kind of weird. And then you wouldn't say that you're motivated by money, would you?
I wish I was. I am so the opposite. Call it genetic, call it, how I was raised, but all I want to do is just work as hard as I possibly can as a coach and a pro athlete and be kind and help as many people as I can. And if money comes to me, great. But if I could support myself, I don't need a ton of money. I'm good. That's all I want to do. That's all I
That
want to do.
that sounds incredibly pure.
It's just how I am. I would, there's some people I grew up with in New York, the exact opposite. Their lifestyle seems like a lot of fun, but it's just not for me. I can't fake it. It's just who I am.
Do you have a family?
So I'm not married. I don't have kids or anything. But if you're talking about, I have a younger sister and a brother, a great mother and father, and a girlfriend right now. Yeah.
Love that. Okay, okay, all right. So, not concerned with money, loves to work hard, loves to be a good coach and be great at the things that you're already great at. That's like it's like the model citizen, kinda, if you think about it.
I know. I was just having a discussion. There's a very famous actor that I train with sometimes at Boost Fitness, which is the gym here in Thailand. I can't believe how down to earth this guy is. Like, if you just talk to him, you wouldn't know he was like the most famous person in Thailand. Maybe I shouldn't drop his name. His name is Lewis. Actor, model, singer, everything. But we had the same conversation that I'm having with you now, and it's very rare to come across people like that, especially successful people like him. So there are people out there like that. I think it's just rare.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I feel the same way. And the like my interest in money is only relative to the projects that I have lined up. I
Mm.
want the Natty King to be the biggest title in bodybuilding. And between you and me, I want it to be the biggest title in sports and entertainment eventually. And I know like that needs funding. That it needs to be a spectacle. It needs to be a presentation of epic proportions, the likes of which bodybuilding or sports and entertainment has never seen. I think of things like WrestleMania as an example, and the way that they promote WrestleMania throughout an entire season leading up to that moment where it's like, this is the main event of WrestleMania 2025. It's a huge moment. So, like, that's how I want to design this whole project and this whole Nattyverse. But I know that it needs millions and millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. That's what I want to scale up to. And, like, that's the only time that money has any kind of relevancy to me.
Yeah. So it's supporting your passion, your purpose in life. Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm the same
yeah,
way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like with an abundance of resources, not even just financial, but I mean, I even see like what we're doing right now, which is the fact that like we're networking. I think having an expansive network of individuals, whether they're athletes or coaches or teachers or what have you, like there's also a lot of value in having a big network as well. So I
Mm.
definitely I like the concept of expanding my resources and then being able to apply them in good ways that help other people. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love your ideas, man. I truly do. Um, I hope everything works out as well as you'd like it, because it sounds like, clearly it's never been done before, what you're trying to do. And I always have a lot of respect for first movers who move without anyone giving them permission. If something's not in reality, and people still work hard on trying to make it into reality when everyone's doubting you, that takes like a lot of character, man. So I really appreciate it. I respect that.
Yeah, and I appreciate the heart to heart. It's at this point, since I'm like a year and a half into this whole thing, it gets really easy. Like you like the more you kind of reinforce it and reaffirm everything that's working, you really just don't even think about doubt anymore. Like I can't remember the last time I like, oh, this could go terribly. Like I haven't had that thought in a while now, so I'm really
Yeah.
happy about that.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't know what that is. I don't have that much yet. When I was younger, I did, but I suppose that's just getting older and just understanding what's really important in life and what's not. And people who are naysayers, it's fine, but it's just not important toward what we're trying to work toward,
yeah,
It just
yeah.
doesn't matter almost.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter. Also,
Yeah.
like a person of your fortitude and focus, probably more than anyone. It's the thing that you focus on becomes the reality, and then everything else that you're not focusing on kind of just becomes a blur, an
Mm-hmm.
inconsequential, you know, something that you don't really
Very
factor in.
true. Yes.
Okay, well, let me summarize. Uh, we are aiming to go into production. TV show, cool. Even though I've been starting to get feedback from people that I talk to. I don't know how popular TV is anymore. I don't know if people are watching TV. So that's just something I'm keeping in the back of my mind. I know that the Natty King needs to be a huge project. It needs to be a huge like presentation, but maybe it needs to be a movie. It's like I'm open to how that actually happens. But we want
Mm.
the production to start in 2028, which means between now and the beginning of 2028, I want to cast 30 natural bodybuilders. The way I want to do it is I want to cast 10 athletes each year. So 10 athletes in 2025, another 10 in 2026, and a final 10 in 2027. And the way that I want to structure it is that each year the roster gets, more and more filled so that there becomes more incentive or more oomph from the remaining natural athletes to like get on and like secure a spot. So it's supposed to become like a feeding frenzy over the next couple of years. What I'm doing right now is I'm reaching out to my favorite natural bodybuilders, the ones that are like have great physiques, they've got interesting storylines, they've got some cool rivalries. For instance, two athletes that I'm looking to bring on this year. We have one who's never competed. His name is Zach Moore. He's going to be
Mm-hmm.
doing his first show at an ANBF show in a couple of months. But he's actually being coached by Alberto Nunez, who you might know. A
Sure
lot of
do. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people know Alberto Nunez.
Yeah.
I got to schedule a call with him.
You do.
But like, so
Yeah.
yeah, so he's being coached by Alberto Nunez. So like, a very easy storyline is master and protege. He's competing. Alberto's competing on like the champion OG veteran side, and Zach is competing on like the persona, cool character side. And
Mm.
just pit them against each other so far as the storyline is concerned. So
Mm.
like that's kind of how I'm making these assessments, where it's like I'm meeting with individuals like yourself, seeing where you would fit, seeing the type of story that I would tell around your character, and then moving forward in that direction. But yeah, that's basically
Very
it.
cool.
Yeah,
Love it. Yeah,
yeah.
so anything you need from me, just let me know, Sean.
Okay.
And
All right.
sounds
Well,
great.
yeah. Like what I will do is I did announce the 10 athletes that I want to confirm this year. I've got 5 confirmed, and I have another 5 that I want to get verbal confirmation from. Matt Ogus is one that I've reached out to. and I want to get him on the team this year, but we don't really have a relationship. Do you know Matt Ogus?
I know of him.
Okay.
Yeah, I never met him or really
Yeah.
talked to him before
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So, in the event that like I just can't get a hold of him this year, maybe I'll circle back around to him next year. And it's like it's no worries. Whoever like doesn't want to be on the team, they're just it's like they're missing out on legacy. I like doesn't matter to me. But yeah, I say all this to say you're top of the list, and then it's just a matter of like when can I get you in? And yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
I'd be honored, man. Honestly, this is what the sport has needed for a long time. I do have a question actually. So let's say it's a show. Are you trying to get people in like a reality TV show in a house together, or how do you see it working out?
yeah. That's a great question. Honestly. I thought about that, and I'm not too enthusiastic about it because it just feels too reality TV-ish, and that's not really my style as a filmmaker and storyteller. My inspirations when it comes to filmmaking is like Christopher Nolan, Dark Knight type of stuff. So, and that's why I'm kind of seeing it more in the past week. I'm seeing it more as like a feature-length film that's filmed
Mm,
as if it's like scripted. And the vision is that we film it without a script and we interact with the natural athletes, but it's shot like a freaking movie, you know? So, like, we're doing like really cinematic scenes at the gym, having phone calls, interacting with each other. But the presentation is like, there is no script. It's just, I happen to have a knack for storytelling and I'm able to create dramatic cinematic moments through the fact that, like, I've been premeditating every single interaction for like the past several years.
very interesting. So would the competitors be interacting with each other in person
Yes.
as well? Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So the trick would be creating scenes that make sense for the 30 athletes to interact with each other during a year-long prep.
Oh, okay. So would you want everybody in this movie or show to be competing the year it's filmed?
Correct. Correct. Ideally.
Ah, very
Yeah.
cool.
So the ideal concept is all 30 athletes have been invited to compete at a unprecedented show called the King of Naturals Tournament, which is an invitation only tournament where they compete to be crowned the Natty King and win a $1 million cash prize.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah.
And
So
this is like you're pretty positive it'd be 2028 with this,
yeah.
yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so so 2025 and then I could take like a 2 year off season and then compete in
Amen.
2028. That
Yeah.
might work out I might just do that
I
anyways.
love it.
I might just link up with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Hmm.
So the competition is going to be put together by you, right? You're going
Hmm.
to do the production, you're going to set everything up to compete against each other to win.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's so cool, man.
Yeah, yeah, and I would
That's
also
so
be
cool.
competing. It's actually funny that because very similar to like what you said, I competed last year, and I was like, all right, I probably need a good 5 years to like put some size on because I competed in men's physique last year. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna need 5 years to put some size on and to compete with these guys if I even want to stand next to them for the Natty King title, right? And
Hell yeah.
yeah, and I told my dad the big plan, and he was like, yeah, that all sounds great, but instead of making it five, make it three. And I was like, "Yo, Dad, like, I don't know if I could get the legs right in 3 years for this competition." And my dad was like, "You can afford to lose, you know, and what like in the event that you lose this thing, what happens to your career? Like, you just pulled off the greatest, most historical,
Yeah,
production in the history of bodybuilding. Like, how are you gonna feel if you lose the actual competition?" I was like, "Yeah, but still, man."
you want to win though.
Yeah,
It's the
as any
competitor in
athlete
you.
should,
Right.
you know. So.
Yeah. I saw your picture on Instagram, man. You have really good muscle bellies.
Thanks, man.
I haven't seen your legs, but your upper is like blown out, bro. If you match those legs to your upper body, you're gonna be really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think my best physique is probably minimum 6 or 7 years away. I think like you, where it's like we're on the same page. We want to get bigger.
Yes,
I want to get bigger, So
100%.
uh,
And you know it takes time.
yeah, so yeah, and like in short, the Natty King, that production in 2028, that's for the sport. It's for the sport, and it's for like future generations to be inspired and like know that they have something to pursue that's not enhanced. But my bodybuilding career, that's like 6, 10, 12, 15 years, down the line.
Yeah, you want to peak what 40s, 50, yeah, exactly. That's
Correct.
that's the move. I'm the
Correct.
same way. I want to
Yeah.
peak 10 years from
Yeah.
now, 15. I want to keep pushing it.
Yeah.
So
So
there's
we'll
no
we'll
rush, bro.
we'll be able to compete against each other for a while.
That'd be great, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
hell yeah, I would love to. I'd love to be on stage with
I
you.
love it.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
it's my honor, so.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, dude, do you have any additional questions? This is like just one introduction conversation before like more occur over the future. But
Sure. Yeah, we'll definitely be talking more. Do you have any idea the month of this competition in 2028?
no, but if I had to say, the second half of the year for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's better if you want to ask me. All the world championships in pretty much every sport is in the
Agreed.
fall, right? So if you could get this competition close to like October, November, I think that's like perfect because then the competitors could do worlds
Right.
too. Not only this, but then they can compete at worlds, and I think that would circle back and blow it up even more.
Correct.
So I think that would be
Yeah,
perfect, man.
and it's supposed to feel synergistic. So it's like we're not competing against other federations. That's why I don't call the King of Naturals tournament a federation. I call it a promotion, where we're taking athletes from other federations. There's even talks. We're talking to promoters within IFBB federation to see if they would actually be interested in sharing some of their athletes, which would also be historic. So because they don't actually like to do that kind of thing. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, we're on the same page. October is definitely that's the ballpark of where I'm thinking as well.
Excellent. Yeah, that'd be excellent.
Cool.
Yeah, so we'll talk further. If I have any more questions, I'll definitely shoot you a message and we'll talk
Yeah, and
more.
I love how you think logistics. I need more people like you to ask questions like that because it's incredibly helpful. Like I only think about the things that I'm thinking about. So when you present a new perspective or a new thought, it gives me more stuff to think about. So it's very helpful.
Absolutely, and I would love to do it because I've been waiting for someone like you to come along. So
Awesome.
we could brainstorm
Yeah,
anytime.
feel free to hit me up whenever.
Awesome.
Cool,
Thank
man.
you so
All
much
right.
for having me, man.
Yeah, same. I'm looking forward to a continued relationship.
Yes, me too, Shaun.
Okay, bro. Have a
All right.
good one.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Take care, bud. Bye.